Content warning. The following program contains smoking, sometimes potty mouth language, discussions of fictitious violence, and a hot take or three. Are you happy? Just start the credit, dude. I'm too tired to deal with your... Come on, I said it right this time. Just roll the credits, okay? Just roll the credits. Those are not the credits. All right, yeah, that's a good point. All right, that's a good point. We'll get that. Everyone, or since I am rather sleep deprived, hello everyone. Yes, I channel Miss Doubtfire whenever I end up that tired. Welcome to Warp Tumblers C24. I am Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer. Yes, because I can say things with an offensively horrible French accent. And yeah, I am Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer. Thank you guys for coming in and saying hello and all of that jazz, because that is what we are doing. That is what we are. This is the show on twitch.tv where we actually play some role-playing games. I know you guys are sitting up going, man, why isn't he so entertaining? Every single day he's just sitting up telling me what I gotta do to live a better life or something like that. Just play some games, man. Why don't you play some games? So here we are playing some games and all of that stuff. But before we start playing games, I got a couple of things I gotta do with y'all. Number one, I gotta introduce my tumblers. What? Hush, hush. What? Hush, hush. That's right. So, Tumblers, say hello, Tumblers. How you guys doing? Yeah! Come on, make some noise. Keep me awake. You guys aren't making any noise. All right, there we go. Yeah, make some noise. Woo-hoo! Look at all that. That's right, everybody. So, we will start off in a different order today. In the... well, how can I put this? In the, I forgot the name of the actor. So, in the bottom right square, knowing that Jesus may have died for for your sins, but those pumps are unforgivable, we have Rowdy Rebecca Pena. How you doing, girl? What's going on? It would help if you weren't, muted, actually. That would help a whole lot.
Oh, there was a button for the sandwiches stuff. All right.
Yes.
Exact. Fantastic. All right. Hi, everybody. What's going on?
Yeah, Rowdy Rebecca Pena. And, of course, below me, you guys know her. You guys love her. You guys admire her skills with costumes, makeup, character development, and all of the things that an adult would play these games of pretend for. Miss Vivian, what's up?
Hey everybody. Good to see you again. Glad I'm back.
Awesome. And right over here, to my left, you guys know them. You love them. Hopefully you've bought some of their dice by this point. Say hello to Cass, Ryder, and I'm not quite sure of the honorific for they, them. Is it Mr., Miss, Ms., Lord, Lady, Your Grace? I'm not quite sure.
Grace works.
Okay, Your Grace. Yeah. Cassidy, Bryce, there we are. All right.
Hi. My voice is a little gone, so forgive me if I don't talk too much tonight.
Of course, your voice is a little gone from having diplomatically made stuff work really well with our new life form known as David. So if you guys were not here, Sovereign. Okay, yeah, Sovereign is good. I like that. I like Sovereign. All right. So, Sovereign.
Sea witch.
Sea Witch.
Sandwich?
Bewitch.
Sandwich.
See,
Also sandwich.
sandwich is one of those things that I would definitely almost go for, but then you get into what kind of bread and if it's mayo, Miracle Whip, or ranch, and it's
And then it becomes Pathfinder. And what are we doing here?
yeah, exactly.
The roll for sandwich TikTok account.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Exactly.
Yes.
And of course, everyone, it is I, Von Karm. Oh no, wait, it is I, Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, coming at you with massive sleep deprivation as we prepare for Decker Day. That's right, Decker Day is coming up. What is Decker Day? What are you guys talking about? Well, Decker Day is the Back in the Deck Expo. We have one full day of games and fellowship. And hang on a minute. Yeah, games and fellowship. And stop giving me announcements. Okay, there we go. Games, fellowship, fun, family stuff, meeting people. We have so many things that we have going on Decker Day. We have 8, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tables of demonstration games in the thing. I mean, we are literally talking Grimdark Future, which is the lightweight affordable version of Warhammer 40k, Grimdark Future Firefight, which is the lightweight affordable version of Kill Team. We also have the DC Universe miniatures game, Carnivale, which is the tabletop miniatures game that is Assassin's Creed with little toys. We also have God, what is one of the other games we have? Sorry, we've got Gaslands, Mad Max, Fury Road, but you play it with Hot Wheels. That's right, I said Hot Wheels, because these games are not made for people that have to take out a second mortgage on their house. We also have Frostgrave and Stargrave and possibly Rangers of Shadow Deep and possibly Marvel Crisis Protocol, depending on if I can get my people there to show up. We also have a paint and take, a freaking terrain workshop. We're gonna have a workshop on creating characters, a workshop on being a DM. We've got a freaking panel with 113 Art coming out, which is a person of color comic book company bringing out some of their wares like Changa and the Jade Obelisk. We also have a panel with Marquita Lassar, a fantastic journalist and project manager for 3 different publications. We've got Michael Young, graphic artist, and NERD SOUL on YouTube, bringing you that street geek and nerd soul out there. And of course, we're going to have, what are we talking about? Oh, we are actually going to have the owner-operator Charles Mendez, a person of color who is also a gaming store operator and a Warhammer aficionado official tournament judge, with a vendor table. So if you guys see the stuff that you're like, ooh, I really like that game, I wonder where I can buy it, I'll be like, go talk to that gentleman over there and he will order it for you. And then you will see his brick and mortar store, which is amazing, that he can put on order, that you guys can pick stuff up and you guys can meet all the cool people, including his amazing wife, but not the 3 cats who are the actual shift supervisors at the store that has a freaking 500 square foot floor plan. Not to mention, with your ticket price of $50, that will also cover parking in downtown Long Beach. All right, if you're in Southern California, this covers your covered parking. We do validated parking in a major metropolitan area of a city in Southern California, but we're not through yet. That also includes your all-you-can-eat Italian buffet. So we're talking food, parking, games, fellowship, comics, nerd stuff, for an entire day from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that covers your food too? Oh my God, but we are not done, because we've got the family pack tickets as well. What's the family pack? Well, it's 2 admissions for $80, and not 1, not 2, not 18, but 3 admissions that include all of that stuff of anyone 17 or younger that comes with the family. They ain't got to be your kids. They can be your cousins. They can be your kid's best friend. Like, oh, my kid wants to go, and the family pack seems affordable and all that stuff, but I don't know. Like, my husband doesn't want to go, and I only have one kid. Your kid got friends. If your kids are into this, you can bring one or even two of the other people from your kids' gaming groups. What? That's right. You can even bring your kids' friends' parent who might want to come out and see, like, what is my kid always doing on their computer, or why am I dropping them off at a freaking coffee shop on Thursday nights? What do they do in there? They just talk about something, and all I hear is them saying the letter D and certain numbers, and then they say critical. I don't understand. Well, come on in. And of course, we are doing all this for the people. So that is what we're doing this Saturday at Bono's Pizzeria. And someone asked me earlier today, is that like a cool place? It's a 3-star restaurant that's priced like a 2-star. Okay. And it's a family owned chain that was started by a family that immigrated to America from freaking Sicily and set up camp in San Pedro, California with dock workers. And they opened a restaurant, and they have been here since 1920 and been running these restaurants since 1967, right? So we are talking real stuff, all right? Because when I put on something for the community, I want to make sure the community gets value. How do I do that? I go, I'm broke. What would I pay for? And there you go. That's what I put that stuff out there. So now that we've got all that stuff down, I want to thank my patrons. Okay, because you guys are the people that keep our heads above water and make sure that I don't have to go get a job at Home Depot. Our patrons, like our royalty tier, being Laura Holton, Chaley Watson, Jennifer Kroll, Noel Oldheiler, Glenn Couch, Christopher Chalmers, and of course, Mr. Joseph Hines. So thank you guys for being out there, for holding up the community, for helping me do the community service work and all of this stuff that's out there. So, in our last game, I was drinking coffee. And in our last game, our anthropologist cleric suffered a snake bite, almost in a Eurydicean fashion, and has been put unconscious into what seems to be either C24's residential tent in the Centaur village or the medical tent. Tomato, potato, there you go. But before we get started with today's game, we were having a conversation, and I wanted to put this out to you guys because let's see who's in the chat with us today that will probably want to weigh in on this, all right? And of course, what's up to all you guys on YouTube that's watching? Yeah, I do a stream on both channels, which is why Twitch keeps sending big dudes in ill-fitting suits down. So, along with Alien Conglomeration, Anna Banana Tan, that's Odysseia, Commander Root, Lizbeth, Insinkable, Cameron 13, and Sega Dream. You know, it's funny, Sega Dream, we had I think we had Sega Saturn a little here earlier this week, and that is not a joke, actually. So it's good to know that people are representing the gaming company with the console that was 2 generations ahead of its time consistently. I really appreciate that you guys, like me, are out there. And of course, we've got Clever Little Vixen holding it down like gravity. No, Clamato does not exist, okay? I don't like ideas. I'm not anti-drug, but I don't do drugs. But somebody was not sober when they said, hey, let's juice clams and tomatoes and put it in a bottle and see if people buy it. You know, and let's give it a commercial, because it's not the pick me up that picks you up. It's the pick me up that makes me go, what? Anyway, so we were having a conversation about the new iteration of Dungeons and Dragons. Not Dungeons and Dragons 5.5, D&D, not D&D 5.5, not D&D 6th editions, but D&D, the end of all editions, the pinnacle, the zenith of all editions, known as 1. Yeah, I don't know what it is about I mean, like, I was there with the original PlayStation, you know, so there was the PlayStation 2, and then later on the PlayStation 1. Oh, no, wait, that was the Xbone. That's right, the Xbox One. It's like, I don't know why people put 1 behind their 7th iteration of something. You know, it's just a thing. Maybe because 1s look like 7s, I don't know. And But for those of you guys that aren't in the know, Jeremy Crawford and Wizards of the Coast decided to do another iteration and try and I'm not going to say drag Dungeons and Dragons kicking and screaming to the 21st century, but transfer Dungeons and Dragons to what it looks like the 21st century is going to be later on, with subscription services, online stuff, and new game mechanics, because, you know, MEC. I say mechanic like someone says mechana. So with that, there has been. Is there someone at the door? Oh no. Those are just fireworks. Gotta love living in LA. There has been some opinions about stuff. So I wanted to bring that up. And since being a talk show host seems to be one of my inevitable fates, I just wanted to be an actor. I'm just going to lean into what I'm good at. So, D&D. One D&D. Discuss.
Oh.
No.
Can of worms. You guys have absolute permission to rant, rave, and all of that stuff. Try and keep it child friendly.
I firmly stand by the fact that I feel like they're basically taking Pathfinder and incorporating it into D&D. I said it's two different ways of telling a story. Pathfinder is very granular, it's very choice oriented, and you make these choices. You have so that you can build a character quickly and easily, and you can go right into your story and have constant stuff. Whereas D&D is, to me, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is much more freeform. You have a lot more. It is granular, but I feel like you have more space to explore. And yeah, like, I don't know. I started off excited, and the more I learn about it, the more I'm like, that's kind of how I feel. Yeah,
That's how I felt too. I mean, I heard about this last Thursday, and I'm sitting here talking with somebody that I was playing in a campaign with at one point, and the only thing that I could think was, just call it 6th edition. It doesn't need to be backwards compatible.
Yep.
Just make a 6th edition. And doing away with all of the editions at once, how are we going to differentiate updates now? Is it supposed to be an evolving document? Because if so, how are we supposed to keep track of that?
Yep.
Interesting.
I mean, if there's one D&D now, and it's supposedly going to be the same D&D in 20 years. I mean, how are we supposed to keep track of the differences? Because they've only got, I think, the original number of races. And in 20 years, how many sub-races, how many new races, how many books have been written to add new content to the game because people had exhausted every combination? How are we going to keep track of what the originals were? Or if we don't want to have certain races in the game, if it's a constantly single evolving document.
Okay. That's a very fair question. What are your thoughts, Rowdy?
Honestly, I love that we're having this discussion because I feel like these are points that just wouldn't come up in other conversations. Like, where else can you go to just talk about this, right? The idea of an evolving document, that was like a serious thing that I didn't even think of. Thank you for bringing that up. But like, the thing that was just kind of like stuck me a weird way was like the subscription service. Like, that's, I don't know, like, I've paid for books before and I've paid for games and other things, but like, I've never paid for like anything like a gaming subscription or anything like that before. So, I mean, I know that there's people out there that do it, but like, would people pay a subscription service to play D&D?
Well,
So D&D and Wizards have been playing this game in terms of like marketing the same way Nintendo did, right? Like, they would release unfinished products, and then as time goes on, more updates become available.
You say Nintendo, I think that's the entire video game industry.
But it's all based off of the Nintendo system because they were always adding in these new. Look, Animal Crossing has a new update. Look, Mario has a new update. But we're just
Okay.
gonna call it something slightly different, you know?
Okay, so it's less like patch day and more like, hey, look, we made some more stuff on our lunch break. Here, you can have that too. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
And
Okay.
that's how Wizards has run things for a while, and we've all found it irritating. You know, oh my god, a new book came out. I have to go drop $25 more.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're venturing into free to play territory, and that boils something deep in my soul. Like I'm not sitting here playing D&D and saying, okay, so I can't afford the $10 this month, so I guess I'm not playing this month.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, when it comes to subscription services, it's funny that we're bringing this up because I actually just had this conversation about another form, unrelated to D&D. If you're familiar with Clip Studio Paint, they just released an announcement that they are going to be shifting from purchasing you could basically purchase a license before and you had the product and that was it. Now it's subscription based.
Yes.
Like they're basically going to be changing. It's going to be transforming into a subscription-based service as of 2023, and it doesn't make sense because you've paid all this money. You've already invested so much, and I mean, you've talked about it on your show before. We invest a lot of money in these hobbies of ours. A lot of money gets sunk into it, and it feels very cash grabby to me.
Mm-hmm.
When you're already getting so much money from so many other platforms, and now you have to charge an extra $10 a month. Are you going? And then, I mean, in Clip Studio Paint's case, you also have to pay for updates. You have to pay for like the special update pass. It's like, are we gonna have to do that with D&D Beyond too? Like, is this something that we're gonna have to worry about as well?
Well,
You know, like, are you gonna have to pay for updates? Are you gonna get like, and I mean, or are you just, and even then you're just back to, it's just the circle of life all over again, where, you know, you've got your guys who still have second and third and fourth edition books that are just playing with those books because screw 5e, I guess. So, I
Well,
mean, are we
that
just
is-
going to go back to that?
now that is something I did want to bring up. I know every single player or every single person that has a player character at this virtual table really started playing Dungeons and Dragons at 5th edition. Now, way back in my day when we had a Thaco, in 2000 they got rid of the Thaco and added these things called feats. And people were going, what are you talking about? My player already has feats. He's a ranger and he can run. He's got feats. Well, I'm playing a centaur. He's got 4 feats. You know, and get back under your bridge, Xanathaeus. Back under your bridge.
Oh, no.
Under it. Go.
You're the only one who thinks that.
4th edition was the best edition. Back under your bridge.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Sorry, Sean.
So no, I wasn't talking to the Grocknars. But when 3rd edition came out, there was a little bit of an uproar. And I'll let you know, like, I started new 2nd edition games as late as 2006 that ended up ending around 2013. Heck, in the White Wolf world, when they went after White Wolf in canon, ended the World of Darkness and then came out with 2.0, which was mechanically an upgrade in every way, and I would say a horrible monstrosity of the lore that they'd come up with and spent 12 years working on. But the option to play the old stuff is there. It's kind of I do have this conversation when it comes to expansions of franchises. I'm about to open up a big old kettle of fish, so engage. Oh, sorry, I'm about to say, come at me, bro. A new Star Wars movie doesn't erase A New Hope. You know, and don't get me wrong, I hear people saying, well, it eliminates all the canon from the past. I'm like, are we addressing these things as religion or entertainment? And from what I hear, the answer is yes. Primarily because of the emotional investment, the time studied, and all of those things. So when it comes to the idea of potentially no longer getting support for the things that you're doing, does that kill a game in your guys' eyes, or does that mean the lack of support opens up this thing where if you want to stay current with the people that are playing moderately, you have to keeping up with the Joneses? Like, as a gamer and a miniatures gamer, I ask this question a lot. What are your guys' thoughts?
It's interesting that we're having this conversation because I have vivid memories of me trying to play role-playing games with just text over the internet, like text by text storytelling online. And of all these little like RPG communities that I was involved in, the only time those servers would end up dying would be when somebody would inevitably make the push to like allow adult themes in story. And it was weird because like we wanted to respect everybody's privacy and everything like that. So we set up private like rooms for them to like have those stories, right? We didn't want to take away from their experience of enjoying what the game was supposed to be. But then like that's what everybody was doing at some point. Like all the other stories that were outside of those rooms kind of ended up dying off, and we like didn't see that much foot traffic. It was kind of sad, but in my mind I was like, we had a good thing for going there for a while, but it was nothing really visual. It was just literal storytelling with just text. And in my mind I'm thinking like I was able to enjoy that for what it was at the time without having to pay the subscription. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about like, sorry, I'm still on that like monthly subscription thing. That bothers me.
Well, I know I personally am stuck because I'm anti-subscription service, although this is a subscription service, so please subscribe to the channel and join the Patreon. Make sure that we can stay here and all that stuff. So yeah, I definitely get that. But simultaneously, I still edit videos with Adobe Creative Suite 5.5, primarily because I own it. And I can install it on any computer, and I don't have to worry about an outside force saying, nah, you can't have it no more. And that's always been my big thing with subscription services, because I'm old, all right? I was born in the 70s. You subscribe to cable, but they didn't take your television. You know what I mean? So yeah, so with that, I definitely have my own opinions. But with the having been in these circles for so long, I've seen editions of the games come, I've seen editions of the games go, and I see a lot of games not go underground as much as I see them go inside the house. In the sense of, okay, Wizards may not be releasing any more content support from D&D 5th edition, okay? Or 2014 D&D. Got to get up on that lexicon.
2014 D&D. The phasing out of 2014 D&D is what they said.
Yeah. And that generally has meant in the past that things like, well, Adventure League is new, but the idea of being able to find new players, to find a community, has been a lot more difficult to find a community for, say, 3.5. I would have to go to Pathfinder, which means I would have to get all the Pathfinder books. Not that I don't have them. Working at a game store for a long time has its perks. But simultaneously, that fear of relevance leading to obscurity is a thing that I see from the outside. But I'm not familiar with it. Can you help myself and a bunch of the grognards who are losing their hair who watch this channel kind of understand where that's coming from? We'll start with Cassidy, since their voice is going, and I want to make sure that they get heard while they still can be.
I mean, my main thing with the changing of the system on just a purely mechanical level and how this is going to change how we have to play, it's going to change D&D Beyond.
Okay.
And
Yes.
if D&D Beyond changes its format so that it's only compatible with the one D&D, which it would be very difficult to not do, then, you know, I have to start either playing the one D&D or I have to stop playing with my friend from Texas, who is a DM and is very, very, what's the word?
Texan?
Semantic?
Oh, okay.
No, he's a Bostonian. He just moved to Texas.
Oh,
But no, he's really
Wow.
semantic, and he likes to, like, we go back and forth on not just like rules lawyering, but just like what certain rules could do theoretically.
Ah.
And it means that
Right.
we have to
So
have
what do
access
you
to the
mean
same
by
books.
is what you're saying?
Yeah, what like one of the biggest selling points for the one D&D is that it's supposed to be backwards compatible,
Yes.
but it's not. In all the ways that matter, it's really not. Because suddenly all of these, I think you went to Austin, but I don't know for sure. um, but all of these big changes, like taking out half-elves, one of the most popular races to play in the game, taking out half-orcs, another one of the more popular races. It's those are really big races that people use heavily in their worlds. They're big in favor, and they have huge lore implications because they're heavily steeped in the racism. And it doesn't say that anymore in the books because we can't have races be different from one another. That would be too difficult to write without being horrible about it. It's not, but they think it would be. But without half-elves, without half-orcs, and without Aasimar, which are fast becoming the most popular fantasy race, like non-high fantasy race, people love Aasimars. And then you take them out, you replace them with something kind of similar that just has cultural differences.
Okay.
It's not a backwards compatible system, and if they change D&D Beyond with it, they're going to lose a huge portion of the clientele. Period. I pay for D&D Beyond. I have a yearly subscription. But that's a yearly subscription for things I already own that I know work.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If I have to pay for my books on top of my subscription to work with a system I don't even really like that much from the way it's being pitched,
Okay. Now I see Vivian down there in her window with that old black lady at church scent. She's just sitting up there like, well,
Yep.
testify.
I was just sitting there like preach.
Man, oh
the-
man, they did you wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so-
No, because I kind of feel the same way. Like I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Like when I first saw this come out, like and I saw like how excited they were. I was very excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so cool, blah blah blah. And then I started researching and seeing all of these things that Cassidy points out, and I'm just like, this is not exciting anymore. This to me takes away a lot of what made D&D for me. And I know I sound like every person who's played 2nd, 3rd, and 4th edition when I say that. I guess what it boils down to is that I do feel like it's become a lot like Pathfinder in many ways, and Pathfinder already exists. So why play a game? If I wanted to play Pathfinder, I would play Pathfinder, but I want to play D&D. So how about I play D&D instead?
Okay.
That's my like that's the first of my opinion. The other things that bother me are saying that you want to be inclusive, but not making any real effort to be inclusive. Like we talk about cultural backgrounds, but we don't pull from anything, especially because we've seen proven that there are cultural games on the market that are successful. You had, what was it? It was a TTRPG based on Native American myth. I forget the name off the top of my head, but it was very popular. It got funded right away, and it's been test played on a bunch of Twitch streams. There are many games that are like that, yet consistently Wizards of the Coast fails to incorporate any kind of dynamic into any of their editions. For whatever reason they might have. But yeah, it's very bothersome to me. Yeah, like that kind. Don't say you're inclusive when you're not really being inclusive, I guess. And what was it? The other thing that I worry about is also D&D Beyond, because we all love D&D Beyond. It does its job, but it doesn't work well sometimes, depending upon the person's computer who's running it.
Yeah.
And now they're introducing this virtual tabletop platform that is very similar to another platform called Tailspire. So if you've ever seen Tailspire, it's an open source open source similar to what D&D Beyond is trying to do with the Unreal Engine and this virtual tabletop experience that you have set up. But if you're already having like issues with D&D Beyond, like, do you want to incorporate something that much more complex will that have the same problems, or is it going to be better? Are you going to improve all of these things in order to run the system?
Okay.
So yeah.
Sorry about that. Really quick. Yeah. Or were you talking about Adragor or Coyote and Crow?
Coyote and Crow. It was
Okay.
Coyote and Crow. That was the one that that's the one that I saw. I actually was super interested in that game because I thought it was so cool. But yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just a TTRPG. It's not D&D.
I've been researching this tome for the show specifically, so now I know who to call.
Hey.
Yeah, hang on. Let me just move this phone book. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, no exaggeration. That book weighs about 4 pounds. And I definitely get where you're coming from on that one, specifically because I've been on the ground fighting for representation in these things for years. Ironically, the biggest ally has been Pathfinder, because they release volumes of inclusive things. Like when I saw the African-based race with its own continent, culture, religious system, sets of language, and clothing in Pathfinder, I'm like, AEG could have took a picture from this. Like,
if you had to take something from Pathfinder, why didn't you take the things that actually work?
Yeah, it's very
That is
much
my question.
I do. I actually laugh when I talk with my kid about the things that they and I like, because my kid loves pirates, and I played the Seventh Seas games from AEG, but they don't have Africa, and I'm like, how are you gonna have a Seventh Seas swashbuckling pirate thing and not have Africa when the Caribbean and the African history in relation to the Caribbean was so important to piracy? Oh yeah, White Riders.
Right. So, well, and then of course you have like the Caribbean itself. It's so culturally diverse and rich. You had so many people that, aside from colonizers, that were there. You had Jews who were running from the Inquisition who knew that there weren't, like, there's a whole book about Jewish pirates of the Caribbean and how they were running from the Inquisition. You have, you have places like Jamaica and Haiti and all of these places that were dealing with it and like had to deal with the slave trade, that were forefronts of stuff like that. But we don't want to talk about it.
And the relationship it had with Mesoamerica, which has its own cultural history and background. Exactly. # Submariner looks amazing. So,
hey!
So there is some stuff to be concerned about there. However, this is the old cynic in me that says, again, I didn't want to get too deep in this, but one of the biggest things that I know as a person of color is to never trust the person that brings up how racist they're not. Like, as women, don't really trust the men who talk about how women's issues are so unfair to you.
Say
Look
they're
at
the
their
nice guy.
actions. You know, it's like, wow, that guy is really progressive. Really? And that's looking a little sus, dude. That's really looking a little sus. And yeah, there's not a racist bone in my body. I'm a fantastic person. Okay, I'll be over here. I'll be over here with the guy wearing the white sheet because he's honest. So that's really what it feels like. So so on that token, though, when big
That's always
companies...
such a weird thing to bring up. Like, sorry, I was just thinking about what you said, and it's just like, what do you want? Like a pat on the back? You're supposed to not be racist, you jerk. Like,
Hey, you know what? I paid my rent last month. Where's my ribbon? But no, but
You
real
deserve a
talk.
ribbon for paying rent. Are you kidding?
Yeah, but that being said, when inclusivity is talked about, it does tend to raise an eyebrow. Because again, there are companies and writers and directors and TV shows that do it that don't make it a selling point. Like
Right.
Sandman on Netflix. You know, they didn't make a big deal about that stuff. They're just like, this is the character, do the thing. And again, I hate to say it because I'm not a big fan of the system, because I'm not a big fan of getting an associate's degree in order to start a game. But Pathfinder does it very well, and they have been doing it very well since 2004. And I'm all about giving credit where credit is due. I have been researching Coyote and Crow. Because I'm trying to get those guys as a guest on one of the shows one of the days and all that stuff, and my work with the Native American community and all that stuff. But yeah, so this conversation is interesting to me because in my eyes it's mostly speculative, since we only have what they wrote on Arcane Arcana.
Yeah, and the YouTube trailer that they aired when
Right,
it first came out.
so-
Like, I
And
think
the fact
the
that
D&D
it went
channel
from-
was like,
Yeah, and the fact that
Yeah.
it went from coming in 2014 or 2024 to expected in 2024, and I guess they're waiting to hear about the opinions to go. We thought about it for 2024, but we're
Yeah.
pushing it back to 2026 to give the people what they want.
see, that's my other thing is if you watch the trailer, they also explicitly state that they've paid attention to what their fans, like the fans of D&D, have said, and I have to ask myself who their focus groups were, because the stuff that they're showing me is nothing that myself or my table would find like remotely useful in any way. Like, we're just, because I've been in discussion with them, and they're kind of like, so how does this, what, you know, it's just kind of a, we're all looking at it kind of going,
So who did you talk to? Like, nobody I knew voted for that. Yeah.
right, exactly. It's like, did you,
someone asked for this?
right, like, who asked this? I need to know, because that person we need to talk to them. Like, what? So that was kind of how I felt. I was like, who did you talk to, though? Because this doesn't sound like a good idea, you know?
And on like a concrete note, because you're right, this has been speculative, but like to this point, on a concrete note, how are you going to talk about inclusivity and take away the half races?
Yeah. No, I'm definitely there with, or keep the word races and then take away the interbreeding. You know.
Yep.
Like,
Or
yes, we're doing an
change the word
inclusive
racist to species.
system. No miscegenation.
I mean,
Yep.
this is the reason that they're not making different cultures of human, because then they have to go with sub-races, because, you know, the human race, and then we have to talk about whether or not that qualifies, because, you know, it's this rabbit hole of like what wording isn't racist, right? So they're never gonna introduce intersectional humans because they know people like me are gonna jump on that.
Okay.
And I recognize that it's people like me. I'm one of them. But
You're a
this-
half elf?
I mean,
I suspected.
kind of.
I suspected.
And like, you can make a character half anything, but this whole edition and the decisions that are being made with it, like this new inspiration,
Oh, God.
that is basically the reskinned Lucky Feet.
Yeah.
but slightly worse and slightly better in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's not a feat, it's just the way inspiration works, and we're going to make it so that DMs have every reason possible to give you inspiration, so now everyone's going to be lucky all the time.
Okay. Now, when I first heard the thing about the inspiration thing, for those of you not in the know, you essentially can still only have one inspiration point, but you get an inspiration point. You can get an inspiration point anytime you do something involving a d20. So we're talking stealth checks, running, jumping, climbing trees, putting on makeup while you're up there, combat, perception checks, things like that. So if you roll a die, you can get an inspiration. And to offset what I was thinking when I saw this was they made music more of a talent that a bard has versus the entirety of their personality. So bards give inspiration to the entire parties now instead of to individuals, and individuals generate their own inspiration that they can give to other people, which, okay, in all honesty, my thought on it is keep workshopping, because I do like having mechanics that help players go, dude, you got this. You're my teammate and I'm backing you up. And I've seen many tables over the years focus so hard on mechanics. Like, I was watching one YouTube channel that I like very much, and since I'm about to say something not very pleasant, I'm not going to say their name. Where they were talking about how useless the inspiration mechanic is after level 5, because it's, oh dude, take an inspiration. Well, I rolled a 17, so I already have a 21. Do I need the inspiration from you right now? Well, I feel useless as a bard. And of course, in the movie Gamer's Heart of Darkness, where they were playing 3.5, the best thing the bard was available for was cloning their character over and over again so that they can die 100 times in the middle of the fight, so that you can hide behind the pile of dead bards and get a bonus to your stealth. So I get the intention, but the execution isn't seeming like it's really done well, which is why they have the Unearthed Arcana, which allows people to game test for free. And by for free, I mean they don't pay you, but, you know, that kind of thing. So,
what's interesting also, I don't know if you guys were looking at some of the new, like, additions to the races, the existing races, but there are some races that are now limited by size. Like, I forget which ones, but some of them can't be small anymore, some of them can't be medium, and, like, it's races that it doesn't make sense. So you're kind of like, what?
Now, what I got was races aren't going to be limited by size, meaning any race can choose any size, really. So, like, no, there are some races that are going to be stuck as big or small, but other races can choose to be small. So you can have, like, a 3-foot tiefling if you like.
Yeah.
But you can't have a 6-foot halfling. And the fact that we're having the conversation like this is kind of part of the complication with the new edition.
To me, I mean, honestly, to me, that's like homebrew stuff. That's definitely something you can talk to your DM about. Because it shouldn't need to, something like that shouldn't need to be in the book. I mean, we have a 3-foot tall halfling cat in one of my tables, and he's awesome.
Did you say a 3-foot tall halfling cat?
Yes.
Okay.
He's a cat.
Was one of his parents
an evil cat?
No, both parents are also halfling cats. This is it's set in the Fae realm. It's
okay.
But
that's all you had to say.
Right. So but stuff like that's just basically a custom race, and you can put that stuff on D&D Beyond already. I don't know. I guess for me, like, it's kind of like, if you already have the freedom to do that. Did you need a book to tell you that?
In truth, in my experiences, a lot of players, yes. I talk a lot about one of the other games that I'm running, and and one of my favorite YouTubers, Seth Sarkowski, talked about playing methods in his circles of friends, where some folks like clear-cut rules and recipes versus formulas. These are people that like dungeon delves and hate sandboxing. And, the people that would rather play Pac-Man than play Hitman. Clear goals, clear rules, no making things up. I know a few people that I know don't really want to get into role-playing games because it's so creative. And they don't trust that the GM isn't trying to beat them. So there is a market for all that. What I don't know is which market is bigger and why Wizards of the Coast is aiming for, what seems to be the market that they're aiming for, which is different from the ones that we know. I know a lot of 5th edition players who've been playing for 5 years or more continue to want not just new content, but more crunch. I've been looking at it going, every year you play, you start wanting more Pathfinder. Or you seem to be evolving into the realm of Call of Cthulhu and other skill-based systems. Or you really love running heists. Maybe you should try Blades in the Dark. Primarily because I'm that guy in the hobby that goes, role-playing games are bigger than just D&D. Tabletop miniatures games are bigger than just Warhammer type of thing.
Right.
So it's an interesting thing. But now that we've talked about all of this stuff, let's get to some playing. Since we've now been like, you know what? Yeah, one D&D. Nah, I'm here to play one D&D game. What's going on, Power Commander? Yeah, so I want to play that one D&D game that I like in 5th edition with my friends who work as a team and back everybody up because none of us are trying to beat the other people. That's kind of relieving. So, let us take just a really, really quick breather, everyone, so that we can reset our brain meats. Resetting the brain meats. And get back into the game. In the meantime, let me answer some of the questions and comments that have come up in P City. Wrong one. Oh God, it looks terrible. Okay, let me just fix this real quick. Yeah, that's hey, how you doing? All right, so let's see over here in the chat we've got Power Commander Mantis. What's going on? Oh yeah, black and white now in color. My dad didn't trust D&D for just that reason. Same with my older brother, and he's a vet, like a 20-year vet, so he's been watching people play D&D in the barracks for decades. Let's see, RPGA is older. Yeah, Coyote and Crow. They didn't take away half-elves and orcs, though they made it so that you can have characters who are half anything, except Xanathades. They seem to have eliminated the political and roleplay dynamics between the species, which is interesting because in the fantasy trope, the elves and the dwarves have been butting heads for centuries. Thanks, Tolkien. And if you're going to take it away, it would be nice if it were resolved. Although I never understood why Dragonborn were looked at as other and Tieflings were looked at as okay. Never quite got that in 5th edition. So, speaking of which, let's head back to the Tumblers and everyone introduce yourselves and your characters, starting with just below me right there. You guys know her. You guys love her. The favorite anthropologist, or should we say our favorite spectacled anthropologist who is searching for the Goblin Slayer to have a conversation with him and maybe have him reconsider his racial bias.
Oh boy.
Goblins! Go ahead, Vivian, introduce Najma.
Hey everybody, my name is Vivian and I will be playing Najma Al-Khamar. She is a Circle of Stars druid who is an anthropologist and studies misunderstood races such as goblins, orcs, and lizard folk, and is very much an advocate for proper, considering the conversation we had, for proper representation and making sure that they're seen as they should be rather than stereotyped.
Awesome. And right across the game board from Najma, we've got Reality's character, the card carrying bard, who literally carries cards in the game. I'm not trying to be not politically correct. Go ahead and tell us about your character.
My character is Gaius Mascota. I am, I guess laid off would be the correct term for what crew position I have. But right now, I'm just captainless. I'm a crew without a captain, a stinky captain. But you know, this economy,
Captain.
this economy being what it is. Okay. Also, you know, we just, you know, he runs off with the loot, and just, you know, sometimes it is what it is. But definitely want to catch up to that guy. I got a lot of questions. And we just have to have this agreement between the both of us that I definitely didn't set the ship on fire. So, I mean,
And above
misunderstandings, a load, okay?
and above our misunderstood pyromaniac road and the Gilbert Godfrey squared, we've got our, I guess you can say, cleric who will one day destroy the ozone layer with spray cans while they're being grounded by their parents. We've got Cassidy playing Ryder. Tell us about your character. How you doing?
Well, she's having an interesting day. Slightly less arson prone than yours truly. But we've got Ryder, the Tempest cleric, who is very stuck in her ways and easy to manipulate, which everybody in this arc of story has figured out at this point.
Okay. So,
I mean, I'm unconscious, so.
I can't believe you did that my ball.
all right. So, when we last left our characters, it was an interesting adventure between Caius and Ryder. Let's just say it was their Zuko adventure, where they discovered a new life form and solidified the bonds of friendship, and quite possibly stopped a war between two tribes, and discovered a third warring faction. Dun dun dun. But now they're in the medical tent, tending to their friend who may have gone down from what seems to be a snake bite. And scene.
Am I unconscious? Is there any way I can come to, or am I just unconscious?
That's up to
until
you.
something's
That's up
said
to you.
about it?
Matter of fact, well, that's simple.
Okay.
I'd like you to make a constitution check
Okay, I can do that.
and take an
Let me-
inspiration. Ooh! No, I'm kidding.
Ooh,
I'm kidding.
oh, I was like, what? I know I had a long rest, but I'm not a human. Anyway. All right, let's go ahead and roll that con save. Ooh, that's a 10 plus inspiration, you said? And that's a...
Oh, no, I said take an inspiration because you're rolling a d20. Ooh, I said the thing. No.
Oh, boo. No, that's just 10. I have a plus 3 to con, so it's 7 plus 3 is 10.
Okay. Yeah, you hear voices in the tent, and your eyes open just a bit.
Oh, hey, she's moving.
What happened?
We got bit by a snake. Running not too long.
And then the war started.
A snake? A war? How long have I been like this? And she starts kind of like trying to get out of bed. Like,
About 45 minutes.
Dang it. We should have put on like beards before doing this and be like, it's been years.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
well, I just, well, we're alive, so is there still a war going on?
Not right now.
What do you mean, not right now?
Do you remember the snakes from the swamp?
Oh, yes, those terrible creatures that tried to persuade us to hold still so we would die more quickly.
Wrong pipe, sorry. Well, they followed us back, as you know,
Oh dear.
and then they attacked everyone.
What?
Yeah, it was like we were warning them, and then it happened, and you got hit by the first wave and went down. So we got you somewhere safe, and then we went and we dealt with it.
But are they gone now?
And they're gone for now. There
So
was
they
a
haven't fully-
eyeball. It's a long story.
There's also this sentient life form
What?
that it's. I mean, this is one of those things where we're like, we didn't know what it was, what to make of it. We'd be like, you know what, Nashma, if Nashma was here, she'd know the Latin name for it and everything.
Something was birthed from the well, and the snakes were treating it like a cult might treat their god.
How odd.
And then it
But-
ended up being sentient and it could learn. And I named it David, and it's under the city now. It's under the town.
So you Najma like holds her head for a minute. All right. So let me get this straight. You we went to confront the two sides, the centaurs and the bugbears. And then there were snakes on the battlefield.
Yes.
One of which attacked me and knocked me out. And then there was a fight in which you found a sentient entity, named him David, and now he's under the city.
That is
That's-
that is a good Cliff Notes version.
That's about the size of it, yeah.
The centaurs have deemed him under their protection as well.
How did David feel about all this?
I don't think he knows.
I think he's still trying to figure it out, but honestly, he's pretty young, so it might take years for him to really know who he is as an individual. I mean, this is he's literally born like not too long ago.
Born or returned?
Born, I think. But
Did it-
they
well-
said that something like it had been around ages ago, and that it was the enemy that united the centaurs.
Najma,
Yes.
take an inspiration for that question.
Hey, I actually get an inspiration this time. That's a D6. I think? An extra D. Is that an extra D6?
It's a D8 if it's coming from the GM.
Sweet.
Oh,
I just needed to know what die to grab. I'm sorry. All right. So I'll have my little D8 out ready to go. It's a diamond shape. All right, and well, the reason. So you said that something like this has been here before.
According to the bugbears.
Najma like starts fumbling around for something that she can't. She's like, where are my? What? Have you? Where are my things?
Oh, right, your glasses. I have those.
Oh, right, and my pouch with my writing utensils. Thank you. I need these. And she like proceeds to put them on, or I'm going to proceed to put them on as best I can with my headphones. My writing things, please. Do you have my ink?
I actually don't think I have those.
Well, is the ground in the hut made of dirt?
Yes.
Like, is it a dirt floor? Okay,
Yes.
so she's going to kind of kind of hop off the bed, and she's going to take her finger and say, well, normally these kinds of things work two ways in cultures. And she starts kind of drawing it out. Like she draws out like this little like figure of a monster and stuff. Cultures have mythology to explain things that they cannot explain. For example, if it rains and they can't explain the rain as water evaporating and dropping onto the surface, they say it is the rain god and that they are crying or doing something of that nature, right? In this case, because it is an actual entity, obviously that is not the case here. But what I'm trying to say is, when it's something real like this, well, it can either be a parent-child, it is the child of the original thing that the legend was told about, or the and she's drawing this and like with little arrows and stuff, or it is the creature has been dormant for a while and is awoken.
I'd like you guys. I'd like Ryder and Caius to make an intelligence check for me, please.
Oh Lord, Najma's mini lecture on culture. Here we go.
Oh no. That is not a good number.
Oh boy, you fell asleep in class.
10 total.
Okay, and Caius?
I got a 15.
Okay. You guys are able to keep up every once in a while. You're able to pick out the bullet points. The explanations of the bullet points. It's like, okay, so parent child wah 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 wah, and explaining stuff wah 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 wah. Writer, mythology of gods. That's interesting because the gods are real. They walk around. You've had tea with them. Wah 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 wah.
Would you like some red string? I might have some somewhere.
I don't think I need red string. I think I suppose what I'm trying to say is it can be the child of the thing that was originally summoned by these people, or it could be that thing. David could be that thing. And I don't know, I guess I have concerns that if David is that thing and he's in that state, he'll eventually reach a state in which he is like that thing again.
I think everyone is a little concerned about that. But he wasn't learning on his own. He was learning based on interacting with people. As far as we know right now, he's buried himself in the ground in solitary confinement.
He also knows about one, which is not to be known. I mean, we tried, but...
Like, it didn't learn.
Is that possible?
I don't think this is a god.
Oh.
Hang on just a sec, guys. We were booted from OBS.
Oh.
And we're back.
But if it was a god, surely things could be done to appease them. But I agree with Ryder. I don't think this is a divine punishment, if you will. Did we check the water supply? Is it clean now that David's gone?
Haven't checked it yet. We were more concerned with making sure the venom didn't like reach your heart.
Oh yes, that. Thank you.
I'm sure
that is rather important.
I'm sure the centaurs have looked at this point.
We could always ask them.
Yeah.
Najma kind of starts to get up off the bed.
Are you decent in there? Of course they're decent. They practically sleep in their clothes.
Najma double checks to make sure she's not in some weird nightgown or something. She's
We're being crude shamed.
And Valeria pokes her head in. Oh, seems you are dressed. Come, my father
And
wants to
awake.
speak with you. Yes.
So
Lead the way.
Najma starts to get up and she's a little shaky on her feet at first.
And
She sort of grabs on to whoever's closest.
And Valeria reaches down with pulsating arms of an archer and steadies you.
What a word.
Thank you. I watch Caius's eyes go wide.
You had us worried. But it looks like you impressed the bugbear chief. Especially that one there. And points over at Caius.
Well, Caius is rather impressive.
Very true.
No, I'm just loud.
Take the compliment, Caius.
Yeah, I'm glad that everyone's okay. Here, this fell in the battle when you finally got to the village before you were back.
Oh, thank you.
But it's different. It seems much more sturdy. And it's got very horse-themed embroidery on it.
Did you do something to my bag?
One of our artisans made it a little... Oh, wait, we've been kicked off again.
No.
Curses OBS. Okay. Let's see if we're back. Okay, here we are. I'm glad I'm not the only streamer that goes through this. Yeah. One of our artisans decided to fix your pack. There was mold and gunk and various other things that have been on it.
Well,
And he looks over at Caius. I am going to need that armor back, though.
Oh, okay. I guess that was kind of part of the deal.
well, this is really very nice. Thank you very much for doing this for me.
Well, you and your friends helped prevent a war that could have caused much death and much blight on the land. Blight on the land. I sound like my father. You really do. Just don't tell him, okay? Oh, believe me, I won't. The last thing I need is another comparison as to how I'm not like my perfect brother.
Well, there are such things as being perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect.
Yes. Things,
Sounds like a justification for shoddy craftsmanship. Either way, father wants to see you guys.
I have a question.
Watching this.
Did you check the water supply after this occurred?
We're in the process of doing that now.
All right.
But it's hard to know about any long-term effects until we test it long-term. We may have to move the entire village to another supply. But Artax sent a report in this morning that it's possible that the swamp is clearing up. So we may be able to
that's
move
positive.
closer to there for their water supply. And the blacksmith looks over it at Ryder. And you did very well. Let me know if you need your armor replaced. I should go.
National puts on her pack and is like,
And that's my brother.
well, He's very charming in his own way.
If you say so.
Isn't this what having siblings is like? Just constant fighting, but not really fighting?
Oh no, it's real. It's very real.
Well, it's sometimes nice to have someone to have arguments with, rather than just yourself, don't you think?
I could never live like that.
I don't know. I disagree.
I will need to disagree.
In any case, the chief is waiting for us, and if we keep him waiting too long, we'll make a bad impression, won't we?
Okay. Just, try not to knock over any spiders on your way, hmm?
We'll try not to get caught in any webs either.
Oh, she's gone.
Oh,
It's like that moment when you have the perfect comeback and they're already gone. Boo.
Come back an hour later.
Well, you try
Yes.
not to... Damn it, I had something for this.
Yep.
that's what I should have said. Halfway the way home. And
Oh, they didn't tell. Did they tell us where to go to find the chieftain?
I think we're just.
Or are we just following?
Oh, no, you know the village pretty well at this point. You guys have been here for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Not a big
it's
village.
not somewhere. Yeah, it's
these
not
people
somewhere
have
new.
been
There's-
very hospitable to us, I have to say. Like
Well, I think that's.
it's been 2 weeks and they still haven't kicked us out or asked us to leave.
Well, we've been doing work for them, and I think that's it's quite fortunate that they've allowed us to stay this long. Don't you think, Ryder?
I do. I mean, we knew we'd be gone for a while, that there was something big happening, and I'm glad that we at least found somewhere civilized to do so. I don't love camping.
But don't say that too loudly in front of the bugbears. They might take offense. They are also civilized as well, you know.
I don't think I have enough energy left to care if the bugbears are offended by me. And I definitely don't have enough alcohol in me to care about what they think of me.
Come to think of it, do they have alcohol here in the Centaur village?
Probably.
I haven't seen a tavern yet.
We need to ask some questions.
I very
But
much know.
The biggest question is the water situation resolved? That's what we came here to do.
Yeah,
So
true.
let's find the chieftain. If we linger too long, I'm sure we'll offend him. So, and she starts walking towards where she believes the chieftain to be. And so-
Okay. So, when you guys make it to the chieftain's tent, he is working on what seems to be a crystal of some kind. Tap, 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 tap. You have made it here. Tap, 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 tap.
What are you working on, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, tap, 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 tap. The chieftain of the bugbears and I, we came to an agreement. We tend to come to a lot of agreements these days. Tap, 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 tap. But this one is in regards to you and your group. It's good to see that you are up and walking.
Thank you.
So, okay, well, everything that you guys agreed on, was there anything else that we need to maybe know about that?
Well, with the introduction of these Yuan-Ti, things have become more complicated.
More complicated.
There is a good chance that they will not let, you called him David, stay in peace.
You
Which
think they'll try
means-
to
My knowledge may not be sufficient. Neither would the bugbear shaman. It looks like we need a wizard of some sort.
Do we know any wizards? Najma like leans into like Cassidy and Caius.
I don't know any wizards.
They're still alive, right? Is that
Interesting qualifier.
okay? Let's just forget that I said that. So wizards, right?
Because they're
Live
squishy.
ones.
I will never understand your ways of communicating.
Even we don't really understand them. It's fine.
Well, either way, there is a city not far from here.
Okay, you have one in mind.
Oh, good.
Unfortunately, with the repairs that we have to make to the village, we don't have enough resources to give you a ride. As much as my daughter and son would like to offer, we need them here. So the Bugbear Chieftain and I have decided to help you get there if you are willing to find us a wizard.
Well, how do we feel about finding a wizard? And Najma like sort of looks at Caius and Ryder.
We were sent to fix the blight on the land, and we can't guarantee that it won't start again if they mess with it. So I think we need to prevent that at all costs.
That reminds me, how is the water?
We are finding out now. They are bringing me samples from the deepest, darkest parts of the well. If that comes out clean, we may be able to stay.
Okay.
And then there's a knock on the door. They're awake. Our brave warriors. So small, yet so fierce. And the Bugbear Chieftain just stares Caius and Ryder in the face and just leans in.
I see your friends.
I guess you could say that.
I'd like you guys to make either an intimidation check or an insight check.
Just those two, right?
Oh yeah. In fact,
Oh,
the
this
Bugbear
is-
Chieftain is practically ignoring you.
Great.
That's an 18 for insight.
Nice.
It's funny for intimidation.
Hmm?
It's funny for intimidation.
Okay, what do you got?
Nice.
Oh, nice to see you again. You look like you're doing well.
Now, with your insight check, he's just joshing you. And with your intimidation check, you may be skilled, but I still break you. So the old man talked to you about the wizard?
We were just getting to that. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's a town, I think it's Raven something. And I get the feeling that the mayor may know something. But whenever any of my people go there, they draw their weapons and challenge us to a bunch of fun. It's funny when
Fun?
they look at a bugbear, they see a villain, so they fight, we fight. Dead bodies, crying children. It's just nothing but work.
Well, they shouldn't stereotype you like that.
It's fine. As long as they fear us, we have respect.
I guess
I
that's one way
see.
to look at it.
That being said, if you can talk to the patron of Ravenswood, if he isn't a wizard, he knows one. Well, yeah.
Ravenswood.
He knows one.
All right. And how long will it take us to get there?
Oh, that's what we're working on.
Where
What
can
are
we
you working
find
on
them?
exactly?
There is a legend that if one is at peace with the land will assist one that is at peace.
Oh, Ryder,
tink.
you need to stop having a bad day.
Tink, tink,
Let me get right on that.
tink, tink. You need to be happy. I'll work on that, bastard. Okay. Immaculate fatherless being.
Gets strangled by Ryder.
Dang. Oh man.
We haven't tried something like this before, but there is a legend that says the blood of the helper can influence the elements at least one time.
The blood of the helper?
Only if you're willing. If we could get you to Ravenswood, Raven's Teeth, or Raven's Wing, I don't know if you can get you to Birdtown. We could do that before sunset. Would you go?
Is it gonna cost blood?
Look who knows so much, huh? Ooh, is
You
it
were
gonna
just talking
cost
about
blood?
blood, man.
Blood is a small price to pay for cleansing the land.
Whose blood exactly?
Well, who do you think?
Answer that, please. Like, now I want to know. I'm curious.
But you're not. It's not your blood, is it?
Oh no, I'm not going.
It's our blood.
Oh, it's our. Oh dear. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Do we really have to shed our own blood? And how much do we need to do that?
Oh, not a lot.
Oh, okay.
Just a few drops.
Oh, that's a relief.
This might as well happen.
So much for not having more of a bad day, I suppose.
But I thought you were threatening us. What a relief.
Good. All right, old man, give me the crystal of care. And he hands him the crystal that he's been carving into. You don't have to be too afraid. As boisterous as he is, he knows what he's doing. Go ahead, reach out your hands.
Najma very, very hesitantly reaches out her hand.
And the crystal of care, carved by one who is grateful. And with the spoils of war from one who respects, we draw blood. And he pulls out a sharpened card.
That looks familiar.
Paper cut.
That's not
Paper cuts.
And he cuts Ryder's hand, and a few drops of blood starts to well. Take 1 point of cutting damage. He cuts Najma's hand. Take 1 point of piercing damage. And he starts to cut Caius's hand. And then he presses it.
Oh.
So I can take those back now, right?
Take 3 points of piercing damage.
I mean, you're giving it to me, right? That's what that means.
This is just to remind you to respect your weapons enough to not leave them laying around.
Oh dear.
Okay.
And then the older centaur wipes the blood onto on the crystal. And then you guys hear a rumbling. And
Oh my,
and up from the ground are 3 stone elementals. And they
This is
raise
not
their
good.
arms in a hugging motion.
This feels like a trap.
Well, who's first?
how exactly does this work? Do we just hug them? Do we climb them? I just want to make sure I follow instructions.
I'm gonna go touch it.
Okay. And it reaches out and it gives you a hug. And it
Don't
sinks
crush
into the
that,
ground.
please.
Whoosh. And you guys see the elemental literally bear hug Ryder and just sink into the ground. And where it sank, there's no disturbance in the dirt.
Oh, that
Ryder, can you hear us? Can
she's underground. I
Is she-
don't think she can.
is she gone? Oh my god.
She's probably gone. Well, the spell's supposed to take us to Ravenswood. I'm sure she's fine. Oh dear. We'd better follow, right? She
Okay.
looks up at this stone golem and is like, all right, and like walks up to it.
And it hugs you and swoop.
And she looks back at Caius with like a yell, like, "Oh!"
Whoop.
I'm walking to it and I'm just like, please don't murder me, right? Just like,
And its blank face looks at you, cocks its head. Shoulders go up, shoulders go down. Hug, swoop. And what you guys hear is rumbling and crackling. And it gets very, very warm. It is nothing but dark.
I want this visual of Najma is basically like me on any roller coaster where she's literally screaming the entire time with her eyes closed tightly. So she has no idea what's happening. She's just yelling until
Okay.
it's over. So
And with your mouth open, you're just tasting dirt. Just
basically, for Najma.
Very, very, very hard to relax.
and then the rumbling stops and you don't feel as compressed.
Am I dead? Is it over?
And in front of you is a guard.
Hi.
Halt. Have you any intention on causing mischief, violence, robbery, frickery, or any sort of malicious mayhem, mischief, or comedy within the bounds of Ravenswood?
like on purpose?
Perhaps some accidental comedy?
Right, off you go. Come on in. Welcome to town. Ah.
That was weird.
All right. So, the earth elementals are gone, right?
Oh, they're just
So-
standing. They're literally
Oh,
standing in the middle of
okay.
town.
Okay.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you for that.
And as it
Yes.
nods its head,
Thank you very much for the ride.
as it nods its head, it sounds like two bricks rubbing together.
Is this a Twilight vampire?
And then a rumbling happens. And swoop, they fall into the ground. The guard looks over. Last time something like that happened, it brought bugbears. You're not bugbears, are you?
Not the last time I checked.
Maybe in a bit of a disguise.
Would
A
you?
little short for bugbears.
You didn't touch my horns. They're real.
Right.
Would that matter?
Well, welcome to Ravenswood.
So it is Ravenswood. Okay.
The three of you reek of adventurer.
You say that
Excuse
like
me.
that's a bad thing.
Is there perhaps a wizard in residence here at Ravenswood?
No wizards here. No wizards here. No towers, no pointy hats. Of course, there is the manor house on the north side of town. Yeah, there is the manor house on the north side of town. Yeah, but that's the Hauser house.
The house?
The house of Lord Hauser.
Oh, I see. I just wanted to make sure I was saying that correctly. Does he accept guests?
Well, occasionally when he sends for them.
And she looks back at like Ryder and Caius and is like, I suppose we'd have to drop in.
Probably.
He does like adventurer types. They say they remind him of when he was young. It's funny, doesn't look a day over 30.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like an invitation.
Yeah. But no wizards here, no old men, no beards, no pointy hats. He does tend to wear a robe all day. Yeah, but that's a different kind of robe. He just doesn't like wearing pants. If you had
Because
all
all
that
wizards
gold,
have-
you wouldn't wear pants either. If I had all that gold, I wouldn't get out of bed.
I think we're just going to pay him a visit. Maybe we can have a bath later or something at the tavern, right?
Oh, well, he may be at the tavern. Hell, owns half the town.
True. Which direction is the manor house?
No, that's north.
And which direction is the tavern?
Oh, tavern's west. Always go west for the tavern. Go in the direction of the setting sun and you end up in the tavern by dark.
Writing
Alright.
down this vital information.
We need to know, because inquiring minds want to drink. Shall we go to the manor house first, or do we want to have a drink and go to the tavern?
What time of day is it at this point? It's been a long, 2 days. Time means nothing to me.
We smell like adventurers.
We do smell like adventurers.
I don't know what that means.
We stink.
Is it breakfast, lunch, or dinner, man? I don't know. Would it be weird to just drop by this guy's house at dinner time?
Well, I mean,
Mm.
we have no idea what he's like. If he's more proper, then we should probably have a bath and freshen up before presenting ourselves to him. If he likes the adventurer types, perhaps showing up as we are will be enough.
That's true. And I guess we can kind of suss out some of the locals for information, maybe at the tavern before going up to this guy's place. We don't really know much about him at all.
Oh,
I was just going to say that.
are we talking about gossip? That's always fun to listen
Let's
to.
go find
Not to
some
use,
cheese
though,
man.
That's not very nice.
Let's find some cheeseman on this guy. I bet he's got an ex-girlfriend somewhere.
I like cheese too.
So you want cheese and you want gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Best place for both of those is going to be the tavern.
Let's. Bath would be best for me first, before any sort of cheese or victuals.
We spent most of this morning in a swamp.
In the mud.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was awful.
Yes, except for that one little hovel where that gentleman was living. He was nice man, lovely soup. In any case, let's go, shall we? We can't stand in the middle of town forever. We'll draw some more suspicion. And she starts walking in the direction that they were told the tavern would be.
And
West.
this town looks relatively cosmopolitan by fantasy standards.
Wonderful.
You got stone buildings. There's actually the road is actual cobblestone.
Ooh.
You guys can smell braziers and the blacksmith there's a sign on a building that says blacksmith. And the building has a door.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to being open air. Modern technology.
But the tavern.
Somehow.
And the tavern has it has a sign with a finger that points at a set of stairs.
Well, at least we don't have to use an earth elemental this time to go underground.
Do you think they have beds? Like real beds?
Did you say bats?
Beds.
Oh, beds.
To sleep in.
Do they have bats?
We can always ask if they have perhaps like an inn. We could like a bed and breakfast.
I will pay real money to sleep in a bed again.
Well, we should find out. Let's ask. Najma's like super excited also about this like sort of thing that they seem
And when you get
familiar.
into the tavern, it's not very large. There's a person drinking out of a stein and staring at the fireplace. The fireplace looks riddled with broken glass and broken ceramics. And everyone in the bar is gathered around the table, and there are two people there sitting at the table, staring at each other. Okay. One of them picks up a handful of cheese.
Not the
Stares
cheese.
intensely at the person across the table. Puts it in their mouth, chews it, and swallows it. The other person reaches into what you notice is a large pile of cheese. We're talking like 11 inches on like a 10-inch platter, 11 inches high.
That's a lot of cheese.
And grabs a block of cheese and eats it. And they go back and forth. And there are people around the table going, here it comes, and you hear, 3 gold on Ron, 2 on Gnome, and one of them looks over, grabs 2 blocks of cheese, sticks them both in his mouth, and eats them.
I didn't think that eating cheese could be a competitive sport.
Well,
Do you say that out loud?
Yes, she does.
And next to you, from behind, you hear, they're both intolerant.
Oh, she startles a little bit and she's like, oh dear.
When you turn around, you don't see anyone.
What in the world? Did you hear that, Ryder? Caius?
Did we?
Make a perception check.
That's a 1.
Oh no, I'm losing my mind.
Awesome puzzle.
What'd you roll, Rowdy, with that smile?
I rolled a 3.
Well,
Great.
You guys are just compelled by this cheese eating contest.
This is amazing.
Najma, go ahead and roll
I cannot
perception
look
at
away.
advantage. Because you're going,
Perception
what?
at
Huh?
advantage,
What?
alright.
Huh? What? Huh?
What is happening? All right, here we go. Oh, that is a natural 20. Boom.
Good.
For plus
You
4 is
look-
24.
You look down. And there's a gnome. They do this once a week. We all make bets to see which one of them come to their senses before they go home.
Oh dear, I can't imagine they'll go home after this because I can't imagine if they're intolerant it being a pleasant time at the tavern after this contest is finished.
It's all in good fun. They could be punching each other, you know?
Oh, that's true. I'm Najma, by the way. What's your name?
He looks up at you. Looks over at Caius. Looks over at Ryder. Cedric.
Well, nice to meet you, Cedric.
You smell like a bugbear.
We smell like adventurers.
Oh, you guys are adventurers.
Yes.
That's neat.
I love this.
That's really neat. Hey, Sam, we've got adventurers.
Oh, boy.
And Sam just looks over, shakes his head, turns around, and just starts polishing more glasses.
I take it you really like adventurers, Mr. Cedric?
You can say that. These guys, what are you drinking?
She looks at Caius and Ryder. What are you drinking?
What's available?
Oh, we've got dwarven spirits, we've got ale, we've got elven wine, we've got the lot. We've got butterbeer, we've got black licorice tincture. Makes people feel really good, but for some reason they just keep on saying Meister. Let's see, what else is here? We got, we have a special mixture of elven spirits that have flecks of gold and smells of cinnamon. What do you got? What do you got? What do you want?
Is there something that the town specializes in?
Oh, how's specialty, Ron? Eating. Wrong. How's specialty, Sam?
I suppose that's what I'll be having then.
Sam looks over.
Same. I know there's a house special. I'm gonna try the house special.
I'm curious.
So, which one do you think's going to be sick first?
Try me.
Here we go. It's probably going to be Najma. I'm not going to even lie.
Oh, are we talking about Ron
The
and
house
Noel?
special? Oh, are we talking about Ron and not us trying to drink the house special? Okay.
My money's on Noel.
I would like to, if I could, if that's a thing I could do, to study them a little bit. I don't know if that's perception or investigation or something.
That would be investigation. Well, what specifically are you trying to learn?
She's trying to see who looks like they're going to basically be sick first. If there's any clues, if anybody's starting to look sick or something like that. So,
are you
I don't know
trying
if
to judge
what I
by
would
physical
roll for that.
characteristics or
Physical.
physical? All right,
Yeah.
that would definitely be an investigation check.
Okay. Cool. So I will grab this, and investigation, is that intelligence based? I think so. Investigation. Yeah, it's intelligence based. I do not have an intelligence modifier. So sad. That's a 13
Well,
plus a 0. Anyway.
well, Norm is bigger.
Norm.
But Ron looks very calm. I mean, Ron is tiny, don't get me wrong. And now that you notice, Ron smells foul. He smells terrible.
I think I'm going to put my money on Ron, and she points at Ron.
Interesting. And Sam slides 3 what looks like beer steins with fire coming out of the top of them. And 3 sandwiches.
Oh.
And they slide down the bar, and then they turn the corner of the bar and stop right in front of the 3 open seats that would be there if you went there.
I guess our meal is set for us.
Oh yeah,
This is
how special.
wizard-ish.
That's lovely. I'm very hungry. And she, Najma just immediately, walks over to that instead of this cheese eating contest. Because she was starving. So
Yeah.
one can only subsist on berries and seeds and oatmeal for so long.
Well, this sandwich is actually this sandwich is meaty and cheesy.
Excellent.
I really thought you were going to say it was also berries and seeds and oatmeal, and I was going to get real sad.
No. The sandwich is essentially what looks like a Philly cheesesteak, and it's got a side of mashed potatoes and green peas.
Okay, yeah. Najma's going to take one bite of the mashed potatoes and just kind of go, food.
And in the mashed potatoes, you can actually taste 3 kinds of cheese, garlic, and 3 types of spices.
And she's like, this tastes amazing. This is wonderful. You should try it, Caius. Come try it, Ryder. Ryder's already
I'm halfway
inside
through
the sandwich.
Yeah. And Ryder, when you bite into the sandwich, it's a really, really, really rich meat, and it's just coating the inside of your mouth with every single bite.
Excellent.
I'm low-key really excited for the sandwich, you guys.
I'm just excited to have real food. And
The sandwich is the best thing I've seen
This
in
is through a
weeks.
mouthful of food. So, and she's chewing, she actually also takes a sip of what's in the stein, as well, because we have the beer steins that came with the meal, I think. Right?
Is it no longer on fire?
Actually, yeah, it's no longer on fire.
Whew, that would have been real bad for me.
Yeah.
Admit.
And it tastes like sweet cinnamon, strawberries, and you can definitely taste liquor. Lots of liquor.
This
And Cedric
is
looks up.
delicious.
Yeah, Cedric
It's
looks up.
strong.
Yeah. Sometimes people come in and order the house special. And I say, you know what, Sam? You should absolutely give them the horse meat sandwiches and the strawberry and the strawberry sliding.
Insight check.
I'm kidding. It's cow.
I was like, Najma almost had a heart attack on hearing horse meat. She's like, wait, we were just hanging out with horse people.
I almost ripped out my esophagus. But
I'm not entirely certain I would have stopped eating, but I definitely would have slowed down.
I mean, graphic seppuku in front of like, a sandwich is pretty enough to kill any meal. So
No, it's cow. It comes from the old homestead.
oh, thank goodness. Ah,
But thanks for confirming my suspicions. You were sent here by the centaurs and the bugbears. Out
oh,
east way, huh?
well, yes, but you could have just asked.
Yeah.
Let me guess, that's not how you do things.
Hmm?
Let me guess, that's not how you do things.
Whatever do you mean?
That part right there.
No, really, I was miles away. I didn't.
Oh, all right. I was just thinking that you're being like mischievous. Like, oh, what? Me? Never.
I,
Well, sometimes a little bit of mischief can be more instructive than people speaking dishonestly. That's what I says.
There. Well, we were sent here by the centaurs and the bugbears.
Mm-hmm.
not as much
I
as
could
a
tell.
sip of her drink.
Not many magical things about these days. And elementals don't exactly come through town very often. Although it's
We were
funny they
told-
used the earth ones this time. Didn't know they had access to them.
We were
Wasn't
told this
Oh.
was the fastest way to get into town.
I'm sorry, I could barely understand you on that one. Trifle deaf in this, eh?
I said we were told this was the fastest way to get into town.
Oh, absolutely. It's a 6-day walk. From there to here.
Well, we were sent for magical assistance.
Hmm.
You know anybody magical in town?
Hey, Sam. He wants to know if there's anyone magical in town. Sam just looks at you, shakes his head, and then you hear to absent friends. Clang. Oh, shh. You want to hear this? And the person, you turn around and you see a person standing by the fireplace with no fire in it. And evidently, they just threw their beer stein into the fire, or into the fire pit.
Oh, that,
And they start talking about their childhood.
is that normal?
Shh. When someone gives a toast and starts talking, the entire bar has to stop and listen.
Oh, I see.
Sam says it's important that everybody's heard. Relax, Sam. Just telling them the rules. And Sam points at the big wooden sign next to what looks like a disembodied forearm.
What does the sign say?
What does the sign say?
Callahan's Tavern. Rule number 1. You pay with a silver. Rule number 2. You get your coppers at the end of the bar. Rule number 3. All toasts will be listened to. Rule number 4. Don't pry. Rule number 5. Any violation of these rules will result in ejection from the tavern. Parentheses. The door may or may not be open. Depends on level of violation.
I don't think we want to get in trouble. Here.
And this is where I'm ending the gaming session for tonight.
The first rule about Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club.
Dang.
The second rule of Fight Club is that everybody gets a voice in Fight Club. Fight Club.
And Extra credits to those of you guys in the chat that know where they are. So I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Thank you guys for a good show and a wonderful discussion. Let me get back to the Wizard's Tower and talk to our folks. So, thank you guys for showing up today. This has been super fun. I want to give a major shout outs to Clever Little Vixen, Q Super, Alien Conglomeration, and a Banana. I believe it's Audicia. Book is Gremlin. Commander Root, Elizabeth is Nickable. Power Commander, Cameron 13, Sega. Dream. Try not to cast too much. Cyrilou, the Chat Attack Tat, and of course, Xanathades coming in from Cheese Country, and of course, Clever Little Vixen holding it down like gravity. Thank you all for joining us for Warp Tumblers C24. And let me roll out the red carpet. All these cameras, these cameras, these cameras. Tell the people where they can find you. Starting with... I think it's Cassidy's turn. Yes, starting with Cassidy's turn.
Well, I'm Cass, and you'll find me at beaniest_bop in most places, including on the back of the Discord and TikTok, where I mostly post about my D&D campaign that I'm running, with just a group of my friends.
Fantastic. And Rowdy, where can they find you?
There's lots of places where you guys can find me, Rowdy Rebecca Pena, Renaissance Fairs, mostly. But this Saturday, I'm going to be at Decker Day.
What? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes. It's great. You
Sounds
guys
like a
aren't
meet
gonna
and
have
greet
to-
if you guys want selfies, just kind of saying.
It's nice. I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, you guys don't even have to set up that like ritual summoning thing in the woods. It'll save you guys so much time. So much time.
Awesome. And
It's gonna be fun. Check it out.
awesome. And Najma, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me also in many places. You can find me on Instagram at VixieBell, just VixieBell. You can also find me at on TikTok as at VixieBell Cosplay, and you can always follow my other D&D adventures at the Pocket Dragon Pub, which is another Twitch channel here on Twitch. So
Fantastic. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you for showing up to Warp Tumblr C24. If you guys got any questions, comments, compliments, insults, input, and or advice. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I said it. Y'all know who you're talking. If you know, you know. Then feel free to reach out at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com, and look for all of those things on the Googles, and that'll take you to the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, and the Facebook group Deckers on the Book. Please, guys, come on down to Decker Day, buy your ticket, calm down, eat the food, play the games, and all the games and the food and all that other stuff and all that and all of those things. And of course, join us here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Dark Side of the Room, where we're going to be talking about other gaming things and gaming related stuff. If you're watching the show today, you know what the show tomorrow is going to be about, and so join the conversation. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what are things that you would like to know about the future and all of those things. You know, let us know what you like, what you didn't like, all those things. And of course, if anybody tells you that it's surprising that you like the stuff that you like just because of the circumstances of your birth, if anybody tries to pull any card on you that says because of where you come from, what you look like, who your parents were, you can just tell them to put those cards back in the deck. We can like what we like as long as we ain't hurting nobody or eating any children or anything like that. But with that, I gotta say thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much for popping in and playing with us today on Warp Tumblers C24. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. I said bye-bye. No, really, fade to black. Wake up! Oh, sorry. Sorry for fading. All right.